Okay, I just wanted to update you guys on how Josie's doing. And I've got some video that I think will be interesting for you to see on her first reactions and actions. With my two boys here, I usually put Luke in first for everybody. He's usually quite kind and forgiving and doesn't start a fight, but just wants to sort of be friends and play and stuff. So you can see Josie gets pretty active to ask him to get away, and he does. He's not trying to have a fight or anything. Right there, Luke tried to ask her to get moving somewhere, and while she sort of put up a fight in the very beginning there, she runs off. And the interesting thing is throughout this video, you'll find that she runs to the back a lot to see the two boys back there, despite never having any real interaction with either of them. I think she's just quite curious as to who they are because she hasn't had any interactions. This is her first time with Luke in the arena. The arena is a nice big space to sort of introduce a couple of horses at a time and get a feel of each other while being able to run off if they want to. So they're not trapped or anything like that. Here they both just sort of went off into the corner and hung out and essentially look like they're just sort of chitty-chatting off in the corner with the other two. Luke's still trying to say hello and get an understanding of what's going on. And she sort of comes around him to get out of the pressure of the both horses, I think. And then we cut to where she'd come back and Luke moved into the corner here. And sometimes when a horse gets stuck in a corner, which is why a lot of recommendations for pastures or paddocks or arenas have rounded corners, why a round pen is kind of popular, is right here Luke's kind of trapped. He could probably back himself up one way, but he wouldn't be able to make it through. So I moved in a little bit to sort of pressure her to move her forward a bit so he could get out, because I've seen him trapped before. He doesn't seem to learn from past lessons. Now he's still checking her out. He still wants to know what's going on and possibly play. She's still interested in what's going on over in the other paddock, which I also thought was quite interesting. So she's neither being dominant nor submissive, but she is showing worry or concern or maybe even some fear. And the reason we know that is because she doesn't start the fight and continue it. She runs off. She gets out of the pressure as fast as she can to some other spot, which also indicates right now that she's just not ready. Just not ready to play yet. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. But right now, definitely not ready. And here they just sort of hang out next to each other, so which is one of the reasons why I really like putting Luke in first. For new horses that come around, because he's pretty patient. He's seen a lot of horses, been around a lot. He's been at the top, he's been at the bottom, he's been in the middle. So here he is, he checks her out again, she checks him out, and he allows her to walk off while just sort of curling around her a bit. But she doesn't go far. There's not a need to rush off. She's not overly concerned. Here she gets moving because she'd like to maybe stay in front of him somehow. I'm interfering with this interaction by being here. So I try to back up. She says, "You're getting too close, back up." And he does, which is very good horse. Here he is sort of hiding behind me. But a very good horse behavior in that nobody here is trying to start a fight. We can learn here that she's not that good with dogs yet, or at least not this dog, and which is our dog, which is fine. He's quite used to that. And once she's finished sort of getting that pressure away from her, she again runs to the back, hoping to find some comfort back there of some sorts. After a while, she did quite well with Luke, so I put our next horse in. He's a 4-year-old, and he goes running up. He's too bold. He's just a little kid practically, but he is top horse here. So he goes running in and tries to figure out what's going on, and she immediately just says no. She's hopping and skipping away from the both of them and runs back to the corner. Now the most interesting part of this right now to me personally is that she runs to the back, they run to the front, which you'll see here in a second, and everybody just stays apart. I think they're actually attracted to Lena, who's off in her paddock still. I have not, and probably won't put her in together with her. We cut to another shot where he comes in and just sort of goes past her. She spins out of his way and then just continues on her way. Nobody's trying to start a fight. Everybody's just trying to figure out where they stand in the herd, which to me is just a very healthy, very normal behavior. Nobody gets hurt. They just kind of figure it out, and then they just go their own way. And hopefully in time they just they get that figured out between them and then start to play and hang out together. It wasn't long. I mean, this video, I wasn't out there for longer than maybe half an hour doing other things, and I'd catch them hanging around with each other. And this is a point where they're getting better. They're just kind of hanging out closer and being more of a horse herd. Here she is saying, you guys need to back up and get away a little. So they do. They each sort of submit to that because they know she's quite happy to throw out some double barrel kicks. Neither of them want to get hit or hurt. So even after the attempted plowing over of her by Macaroni, the lighter colored horse, he's still showing quite here that he's not comfortable going for her. He's not about to attack or kick or bite or get in there, but he'd like to just, get things figured out. So she starts up again. He puts his butt to her and she leaves, which proves in the horse world, essentially right there, that he has stayed at the top. She's said, okay, keep your space though, buddy, which he does here. He's not chasing after her. And they just get along. So hopefully that helps you guys understand what's going on. I'll show you some slow motion footage here of some of those interactions. You can see how quickly it happens and how quickly it resolves. But it's kind of interesting to watch and see what they do. So I'll let you watch that a little bit, and hopefully you've sort of enjoyed this a little bit and to see what's going on with your horse, how they're reacting or how she's reacting, and how our horses are reacting to her. She's doing really well. Everything's going pretty good other than this pouring rain. But hopefully that's a good update. If you have any questions, let me know. So as we watch what these two horses are doing here, they have a little sniff, and it's just a form of communication for them. They're talking with their eyes, their ears, their body. And if we look at it in slow motion, we can really see the speed or the action of the speed quite clearly. She's way off of him. She is backing up, but her last kick there is nothing. It's not really a kick, it's just a hop. But he's already long gone. And I don't show it here, but he's kind of run behind me, sort of hide. Here is Macaroni's first meeting in slow motion. She immediately just kicks out, which he's unprepared for, and he runs off as fast as he can. And yet at the same time here, he bows his neck. He's trying to look like he's bigger. He's prancing and ready to go. His tail's coming up. Her tail's coming up. She's avoiding him. And then she has to figure out how to avoid Luke while Luke just sort of hangs out on the sidelines doing nothing. We'll speed it up here for a second. They come up the arena. These two pair up. He cuts her off, and she makes a nice hard turn. She moves Luke off. He goes running off the other way. Macaroni's going one way. She's hopping back and forth, and off to the corner she runs off, looking quite good actually. Very agile, very healthy horse in that regard. Great at using her body and her head and her tail to get what she wants. So here is the push. As you can see, she plants that back foot, turns herself around really fast. He barely touches her, and curls her back end around his, almost sort of pushing his butt over more so he can't get prepped to kick her. And he has to spin around as well. And she just kind of trots off, shakes her tail right there, gets a little hop in. He says, "I'm out," and doesn't continue to chase her. And of course she heads off down to the corner. Which is great. She's found release. They've done what they wanted. The last one is where they're at the fence. They have a sniff. She says, I'm not interested. Goes to turn around, gets a couple of kicks going. This is where Macaroni's a little bit quicker. They both get a kick out. She runs off. He doesn't follow. These two just sort of hang out and watch her leave. Probably wondering when she's going to be ready to be friends. But not yet, and that's cool. And they handle that. They don't press it. So really good interaction overall. Hopefully you've hopefully you've enjoyed this. See the slow motion stuff where it's happening to where you can visually catch it with our eyes. So again, any questions, let me know anytime.